9:46 p.m. July 26, 2022. Norcross, Georgia. 9:46 p.m. The camera is mounted high on the corner of the community center. Metal housing. Slight downward tilt. Fixed position. No audio. It records continuously, overwriting itself every 30 days unless flagged. It was never flagged. The image is grainy. Sodium vapor streetlights wash the pavement in dull orange. The parking lot is half empty. Cicadas hum somewhere beyond the frame, unheard. At the edge of the screen, a teenage girl comes into view. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe these cases deserve careful attention, not sensationalism, leave a comment below. Say what stood out to you. Say what disturbed you. And subscribe to the channel. She is 16 years old. Slim build. Long dark hair pulled back loosely. She wears shorts, sneakers, a light top. Nothing distinctive. Nothing alarming. She is walking the way teenagers walk when they know the route by heart. Unhurried. Comfortable. Her name is Elena Ramirez. She stops near the sidewalk, a few hundred feet from her apartment complex. Home is close enough that she can already see familiar buildings through the trees. A man approaches from the opposite direction. He is in a police uniform. Dark shirt. Badge visible. Duty belt. Radio clipped at the shoulder. The uniform carries weight even when nothing is happening. Especially when nothing is happening. The timestamp reads 21 hours 46 minutes and 12 seconds. Elena turns toward him. They speak. There is no visible tension. No defensive posture. No attempt to leave. She does not step back. He does not grab her. Nothing about the interaction looks urgent or dangerous. To an untrained eye, it looks ordinary. To a parent watching later, it will look like a mistake. The two stand talking for less than a minute. Then they move out of frame. Elena never appears on camera again. At the exact moment that footage is being recorded, Elena's phone is active. Her location is being shared in real time through a family safety application. A small blue dot moves steadily along the route she has walked dozens of times before. Her mother checks it occasionally, not out of fear, but habit. The kind of quiet vigilance parents maintain without thinking. Earlier that evening, Elena had done what countless teenagers do in summer. She told her mother she was going to one friend's apartment. Then changed plans. Went to see another. Normal behavior. Innocent. Forgettable. She spent the evening laughing, listening to music, scrolling through videos. At Sterling Glen Apartments, just outside Atlanta, time passed the way it always does for 16-year-olds who believe tomorrow is guaranteed. Around 10 p.m., Elena began walking home. Less than half a mile. Familiar sidewalks. Familiar streetlights. Her phone showed her moving closer to her neighborhood. Closer to safety. Then something changed. Elena's family would later describe the moment the blue dot stopped behaving like a person on foot. At first, it slowed. Then it turned. The dot began moving away from home. No one panicked immediately. There were rational explanations. Maybe she forgot something. Maybe she decided to take a different route. Maybe she ran into a friend. Then the speed changed. According to the GPS data, Elena's phone was suddenly traveling at 40 miles per hour. Elena did not drive. She did not have a car. No one in her family was picking her up. A text message appeared. "I'm on my way home." It would be the last message Elena ever sent. At 10:30 p.m., one of Elena's friends received an automated alert. Crash detected. The phone stopped moving. The blue dot froze. Silence. That night, her family began searching before police were even called. They drove the streets. Called her name. Checked the usual places. Walked the route she should have taken home. They expected to find her embarrassed, maybe annoyed, maybe confused. They did not expect to find nothing. When morning came on July 27th, Elena Ramirez was officially missing. And the community began to mobilize. Just a few miles away, A young police officer woke up and went about his day. His name is Daniel Keaton. He is 22 years old. He works for a local police department. He also serves as a courtesy officer at Sterling Glen Apartments, the same complex Elena had visited the night before. In exchange for patrolling the property, he receives reduced rent. Daniel Keaton knows the layout of the complex, the blind spots, the cameras. He knows the residents. They trust him. That morning, Daniel Keaton makes a report. His service weapon, a Glock 19, has been stolen from his truck overnight, he says. Taken along with the holster. Nothing else disturbed. No signs of forced entry he can clearly explain. The timing is noted, but not yet understood. For Elena's family, the days stretch into weeks. Search teams deploy. Flyers appear on telephone poles. Tips flood in from across the country. Detroit, Nashville, Gatlinburg. Each lead brings hope, then collapse. Investigators explore the possibility of trafficking. They deploy drones, thermal imaging, undercover operations. Every resource available is used. Daniel Keaton remains visible throughout it all. He patrols the complex, offers theories, suggests suspects. He wears the same uniform Elena saw at 9:46 p.m. No one suspects him. Why would they? 6 months pass. 6 months of not knowing if Elena is alive. 6 months of imagining every possible outcome. 6 months of living inside unanswered questions. Then, on February 6, 2023, a man riding off-road trails near Drowning Creek Road makes a discovery. Human remains scattered across the forest floor. Time has erased almost everything. But not enough. What investigators will find nearby will change the case forever, and expose the truth hidden behind a badge. The man who helped search. July 27, 2022. Norcross, Georgia. 6:18 a.m. Morning arrives without relief. The air is already warm. Georgia summer heat pressing down before the sun fully clears the horizon. Elena Ramirez's bedroom door remains closed, exactly as it was the night before. Her bed untouched. Her phone charger still plugged into the wall, and used. Her mother has not slept. Neither has her father. They sit at the kitchen table, phones in their hands, refreshing maps that refuse to change. The blue dot that once moved so reliably along familiar streets has been frozen for hours. No signal. No update. Just absence. At 6:43 a.m., they call the police. By 7:10, the word missing enters the conversation. By 8:02, it becomes official. The first officers arrive with notebooks and calm voices. They ask standard questions. What was she wearing? Who was she with? Did she argue with anyone? Did she ever talk about running away? Every answer is the same. No. Elena Ramirez is not a runaway. She has plans. School supplies laid out for the fall. A new song she has been practicing on her ukulele. Makeup palettes arranged neatly on her dresser, untouched. Her life is mid-sentence. By mid-morning, the search expands. Uniformed officers canvass the area. They walk the route Elena should have taken home. They knock on doors. Ask neighbors if they saw a teenage girl walking alone the night before. Most people say no. Some remember seeing a police vehicle. That detail does not raise alarms. It does not feel dangerous. In fact, it feels reassuring. A police presence means safety. That assumption settles quietly over the investigation. At Sterling Glen Apartments, the search takes on a different shape. Residents gather in small groups. Parents hold their children a little closer. Teenagers whisper, checking their phones more often than usual. And moving among them is a familiar figure. Daniel Keaton, 22 years old. Courtesy officer. Police badge clipped to his uniform. A calm, steady presence. He speaks to residents with concern in his voice. He listens. He nods. He offers ideas. Could be someone passing through. Maybe she got into a car with someone she knew. Trafficking rings target girls like that sometimes. He says girls like that carefully. Not accusatory. Just matter of fact. He tells people to stay alert. To call if they see anything suspicious. He tells Elena's parents he's sorry. He says it convincingly. That same morning, Daniel Keaton files his report. His Glock 19 service weapon is missing. According to him, it was stolen from his truck overnight. Parked outside his apartment. The holster gone too. Everything else untouched. The report is logged. Another task added to the growing pile of paperwork. The timing is noted, but not questioned. Not yet. Days pass. Then weeks. The case grows. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is notified. Flyers are printed. Social media fills with Elena's face. A smiling 16-year-old frozen in time, her image paired with phone numbers and hashtags. Have you seen her? Help bring her home. The search becomes regional. Then national. Tips pour in. Someone thinks they saw her in Tennessee. Another swears she was spotted at a truck stop in Alabama. A woman in Detroit calls in crying, convinced the girl at a gas station was Elena. Each tip is investigated. Each collapses. Hope becomes a cycle. Build. Break. Repeat. For Elena's family, the waiting is worse than grief. Because grief at least has an end. Investigators consider everything. Human trafficking. Abduction by someone she knew. A crime of opportunity. They analyze the Life 360 data again and again. The moment that never makes sense is the speed. 40 miles per hour. Someone put Elena in a vehicle. Someone she did not fight hard enough to escape from. Someone she trusted. Throughout it all, Daniel Keaton remains visible. He attends briefings. He patrols the complex. He checks in with investigators casually, offering theories. No one sees the pattern yet. Because patterns are easy to miss when they wear uniforms. August turns into September. School starts. Elena's desk remains empty. Her backpack sits untouched in the corner of her room, still holding notebooks she never opened. Her mother begins sleeping on the couch, unable to walk past the bedroom door. Her father memorizes the sound of cars outside at night, listening for footsteps that never come. The family exists in a suspended state, unable to move forward, unable to move back. Behind the scenes, investigators push deeper. Cell phone data. Tower pings. Vehicle movements. They begin reconstructing the night minute by minute. And slowly, something uncomfortable emerges. Daniel Keaton's phone activity. Keaton carries 2 phones. One personal. One issued by his department. Both leave digital trails. Investigators do not confront him yet. They observe. Between 1 o'clock and 2 a.m. on July 27th, just hours after Elena vanished, both of Keaton's phones connect to cell towers near Highway 316. Near Drowning Creek Road. 20 miles from Sterling Glen Apartments. At first, this seems incidental. Until they overlay it with something else. Months later, when the remains are found, that location will become everything. But for now, it sits quietly in the background, waiting to be noticed. As fall becomes winter, the search continues. Drones sweep wooded areas. Thermal imaging scans fields. Undercover officers monitor online spaces where traffickers advertise. Nothing. No ransom. No contact. No proof of life. Elena's family begins to understand something terrible. This may not end the way they hoped. December arrives. Holidays come and go. Elena's chair at the table remains empty. Her gifts sit unopened. Her younger cousins ask questions no one can answer. Daniel Keaton sends a text to a fellow officer. Any update on the Ramirez girl? It sounds concerned. It sounds normal. It is neither. January 2023. 6 months. 6 months without answers. Then, on February 6th, everything breaks open. An off-road enthusiast is riding trails near Drowning Creek Road. The area is remote. Dense woods. Far enough from highways that sound disappears quickly. He notices something unnatural on the forest floor. Bone. Then more. He calls authorities. By the time investigators arrive, the truth is unavoidable. Human remains. Scattered. Weathered. Time-worn. Approximately 95% recovered. No clothing. No soft tissue. No immediate cause of death. But one thing is certain. Elena Ramirez will not be coming home. For her family, the call is devastating. The waiting is over. The pain is not. Investigators now have a homicide, and very little physical evidence, until they find something else. Something that should not be there. Less than 100 feet from the remains lies a Glock 19 pistol. Exposed. Unburied. Forgotten. When they run the serial number, the result changes everything. This is Daniel Keaton's gun. The same weapon he reported stolen the day after Elena disappeared. The coincidence is impossible. The pattern snaps into focus. Now the search changes direction. Now the hunter becomes the hunted. And the man who helped search is about to be exposed. The badge cracks. February 7, 2023. DeKalb County, Georgia. 10:18 a.m. The woods are quiet again. By morning, the scene near Drowning Creek Road has been stripped of motion. Evidence markers stand where people stood the night before. The forest floor has been mapped, photographed, measured. The remains have been transported. The air no longer carries urgency, only consequence. What investigators have now is not hope. It is gravity. They have a homicide without a cause of death, without witnesses, without DNA. But they also have something rarer. A mistake. The Glock 19 sits in an evidence locker by noon. Serial number intact. No attempt to file it down. No attempt to bury it. It is as if it were never meant to be found. Or as if the person who left it there believed it never would be. When the serial is run, there is no delay. The match is immediate. Registered to Officer Daniel Keaton. Reported stolen July 27, 2022. Less than 12 hours after Elena Ramirez vanished. The room goes silent. This is not circumstantial coincidence. This is collision. By 1 p.m., the task force reorients. For 6 months, the investigation has been expansive. Dozens of theories, hundreds of tips, thousands of hours. Now it narrows violently. One name. One uniform. One lie. They do not arrest Daniel Keaton immediately. That would be a mistake. He is trained. He knows procedure. He knows how to shut down. Instead, they decide to talk. February 8, 2023. 3:41 p.m. Daniel Keaton walks into the interview room voluntarily. He believes this is routine. He has done interviews before. Witness statements. Debriefs. Internal reviews. He knows how to sit. Where to look. How to sound cooperative without saying anything real. Detective Carter greets him casually. They sit. No handcuffs. No raised voices. No accusations. The door closes softly. They begin with the apartment complex. What did he see that night? Who was around? Any unusual activity? Daniel answers smoothly. Transients. Suspicious vehicles. Possibly gangs. He speaks in generalities. The language of someone used to reports. He mentions Elena Ramirez by name. Says it with practiced sympathy. It's terrible, he says. She was just a kid. The detectives let him talk. They are not listening for content. They are listening for change. They move to his stolen gun report. Daniel repeats the story. Parked outside. Overnight theft. No idea who took it. Detective Carter nods. Writes nothing. Then asks something small. Did you ever see Elena before that night? Daniel answers immediately. No. Too quickly. That is when the room shifts. Not visibly. Internally. Because investigators already know that is not true. Witnesses from Sterling Glen Apartments have come forward. Teenagers. Friends of Elena. They describe encounters. A police officer offering rides. A black truck. Conversations that made them uncomfortable. They describe Daniel Keaton. They describe him clearly. Detective Carter does not confront him yet. Instead, he changes tone slightly. Listen, he says. We're talking to everyone. We don't have leads. Just trying to put pieces together. Daniel nods. Relaxes. That is the mistake. Because while Daniel is talking, another team is working. Quietly. Relentlessly. On his phones. Daniel Keaton carries two devices. His personal phone. His department-issued phone. He assumed one would cover the other. They do not. Cell towers do not care about assumptions. The digital forensic map builds slowly. Colored lines trace movement. July 26, 2022. Evening. Daniel's phone moves normally around Sterling Glen Apartments. Nothing unusual. Until after midnight. Between 1:03 a.m. and 2:11 a.m. on July 27th, both of Daniel's phones connect repeatedly to towers near Highway 316. Near Drowning Creek Road. The same area where Elena's remains were found 6 months later. No other phones from his department are there. No patrol logs place him there. No explanation exists. Daniel had told investigators he spent that night driving around after arguing with his girlfriend. He never mentioned leaving the county. He never mentioned the woods. He never mentioned 20 miles of distance. Detective Carter leans forward. Your phone was out there, he says. Precise. Your work phone and your personal phone. Same place. Same time. Daniel shifts. Just slightly. Phones ping weird, he says. You know that. The detective does not argue. He waits. Then comes the gun. Your firearm was recovered near the remains, Carter says. The one you said was stolen. Daniel stops breathing for a second. Not dramatically. Just enough. That doesn't make sense, he says. Carter nods. That's why we're talking. Now the walls begin to close. Not through pressure. Through inevitability. They show him the map. Cell tower pings layered over time. Then they show him the location. Then they show him the photograph. The Glock on the forest floor. Daniel's jaw tightens. He says nothing. This is your moment, Carter says. Your device was there. She went missing. She died there. Your gun is there. Daniel whispers, almost to himself. This is terrible. Carter does not interrupt. Maybe we're a monster, Daniel says. Carter responds immediately. Oh, hell no. Prove it wrong. Daniel tries. He denies killing anyone. If I killed somebody, I would know that, he says. But the statement rings hollow. Because the evidence does not care about belief. Search warrants follow. Daniel's home. His truck. His digital devices. What they find fills in the gaps. Dating back to 2018, Daniel Keaton has been burglarizing homes. Specifically, homes of women he knew. High school classmates. Young women who trusted him. He took personal items. Clothing. Phones. Objects with no resale value. Trophies. His digital devices reveal something worse. He used stolen phones to send explicit content to himself. Messages that violated privacy in ways difficult to articulate. Patterns. Escalation. The behavior does not begin with Elena. It culminates with her. Surveillance footage from after her disappearance shows Daniel attempting to break into a woman's apartment. He is wearing National Guard fatigues. He tries the handle. Pushes. Persists. The woman inside is terrified. He leaves only when he realizes he is being recorded. This is not a good officer who made one mistake. This is a predator who used structure as shelter. The badge was not incidental. It was instrumental. By the time Daniel Keaton is arrested, the community is stunned. Colleagues struggle to reconcile the man they knew with the evidence laid out in front of them. The apartment complex removes his photograph from the courtesy officer board. Too late. June 5, 2024. The trial begins. Almost 2 years after Elena Ramirez disappeared. The prosecution does not promise certainty. They promise coherence. They show the jury the pattern, the access, the authority, the opportunity. They show the footage. 9:46 p.m. A girl. A uniform. Then nothing. The defense attacks what is missing. No DNA. No cause of death. No eyewitness. But absence does not erase presence. After 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returns. Guilty. On every count. Malice murder. Felony murder. Kidnapping. Daniel Keaton is sentenced to life without parole. For Elena's family, justice arrives without relief. Nothing brings her back. Nothing fills the space she left behind. The final image remains. A 16-year-old girl walking home, trusting a badge, unaware that the person sworn to protect her has already decided otherwise. The cost of trust. June 5, 2024. DeKalb County Superior Court. 8:57 a.m. The courtroom is full, but restrained. No spectacle. No shouting. No cameras. Just rows of wooden benches occupied by strangers who have come to watch accountability take shape. Elena Ramirez's family sits together in the front row. Her mother grips a folded photograph so tightly that the corners bend inward. Her sister stares straight ahead, expression fixed, unmoving. They have already cried all the tears they can afford. Behind them sit police officers. Some in uniform. Some in plain clothes. None of them look at the defendant. Daniel Keaton is brought in quietly. No badge. No weapon. No authority. Just an orange jumpsuit and shackles at the wrists. The same hands that once carried a firearm legally now rest on a defense table, idle, useless. The transformation is total. The prosecution begins where the case always belonged. Not with emotion. With structure. They lay out the timeline. July 26, 2022. 9:46 p.m. Surveillance footage. The video plays on a large screen. The jury has seen it before, but repetition is deliberate. A teenage girl walking home. A uniformed officer approaching. A brief conversation. Normalcy. The prosecutor lets the clip end in silence. This, she says, is the last moment Elena Ramirez believed she was safe. They move to the data. Life 360 location records. The blue dot approaching home. Then reversing direction. Then accelerating. 40 miles per hour. The prosecutor does not embellish. She did not drive, she says. Someone drove her. Phone records follow. Cell tower maps projected on the wall. 2 phones. Same owner. Same movement. Between 1 o'clock and 2 a.m., both devices are in the same remote area where Elena's remains would later be discovered. The defense does not object. They cannot. Then the gun. A photograph of the Glock 19 lying on the forest floor. Serial number visible. Ownership indisputable. This firearm, the prosecutor says, was reported stolen the morning after Elena Ramirez disappeared. She pauses. It was not stolen. Witnesses take the stand. Teenagers who describe a police officer offering rides. Residents who remember seeing a black truck. A woman who describes waking up to someone trying to force her apartment door open, while wearing military fatigues. Pattern replaces coincidence. The defense argues absence. No DNA. No cause of death. No eyewitness to the killing. The prosecutor responds calmly. Predators choose locations where evidence disappears, she says. That does not make them innocent. It makes them careful. Then Elena's mother takes the stand. Her voice is steady. She talks about singing in the house, about makeup scattered across the bathroom sink, about a ukulele that still leans against a bedroom wall. She talks about waiting. Every night, she says, I thought she might walk through the door. She stops. She never did. The courtroom does not move. Even Daniel Keaton keeps his eyes down. Closing arguments last less than an hour. No theatrics. No outrage. Just facts arranged so tightly that there is nowhere left to hide. The jury deliberates for 2 hours. When they return, the foreperson's hands shake. Count 1, he says. Malice murder. Guilty. No reaction from the defense table. Count 2. Felony murder. Guilty. Elena's sister closes her eyes. Kidnapping. Guilty. It is over. Daniel Keaton is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge does not raise his voice. You abused the authority given to you, he says. You betrayed public trust. You will never have the opportunity to do so again. The gavel falls. Outside the courthouse, the cameras wait. Elena's family does not stop. They walk past. Justice, they have learned, does not feel like victory. It feels like wait. In the months that follow, lawsuits are filed. Against the apartment complex. Against oversight failures. Against systems that allowed a predator to remain hidden behind routine and respectability. Policy changes are proposed. Background checks tightened. Psychological evaluations expanded. Courtesy officer programs re-examined. But reform always arrives after damage. Never before. Daniel Keaton disappears into the prison system. Another number. Another file. But his actions ripple outward. Through a family that will never be whole. Through a police department forced to reckon with its blind spots. Through a community that now teaches its children something painful. That uniforms do not guarantee safety. That authority does not equal virtue. That trust must be earned, not assumed. The final image returns. July 26, 2022. 9:46 p.m. A girl walking home. A police officer stepping into frame. Nothing appears wrong. That is the lesson. Danger does not always announce itself. Sometimes it introduces itself politely. Sometimes it wears a badge. If you are watching this as a parent, remember this. Teach your children to trust their instincts, even when the person in front of them looks official. Teach them that help can be questioned. That safety is not always uniformed. Elena Ramirez should be alive. She should be singing. Instead, she became evidence. And her story stands as a warning written in timestamps, data points, and silence. Because justice may arrive. But prevention must arrive first.